Welcome to the OUCHCAST and another new installment post Doyle. Now that's a name we haven't said in a while.
Episode. Wait. This is episode 6 with Autumn?
I have no idea.
Drink up.
We were supposed to be keeping tabs, but you know
Drink up.
us and follow through. We just don't.
Doyle, is that his real name?
His name is
Hassan.
Hassan Doyle.
Hassan?
Jason Doyle.
Oh, I'm like Hassan.
Hassan.
He
Jason
told the
Doyle.
story. He told his story that George, our fourth member before he left us, he I guess convinced Jason that the way to say Jason in Spanish was Hassan. So he would go around telling people he was
Hola,
Hassan.
me llamo Hassan.
That's fucked up.
That was one thing.
I mean, it was a great story though.
And I met him when he was I was actually 19, 20 when I met him, and he was in high school. And they would be him and George and his brother Ray were kids from the neighborhood who would come to the pharmacy where I used to work and just hang out. We would talk Dragon Ball and stuff like that. So when I met him, they were like, "Oh, this is Jason," and I'm like, "That's not gonna work for me. I already have a Jason." Like I've just been an ass, you know. I'm like, "What's your last name?" He's like, "Doyle." Like, that's your name.
Oh my god.
And it's stuck ever since. So everyone calls him Doyle because of my stupid ass, because I was just being an asshole to him.
So, women, you were hanging out with a high school kid when you were in your 20s talking about balls?
Yes. Next question. I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, that's how we bonded. And then like they used to do
Over
wrestling
balls. You
over
bonded
balls.
over balls.
That's how all men bond over balls.
That's how all men bond over balls, really?
That's the name of this episode. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway,
We tell each other techniques on how we scratch. Yeah, I'm a fan of the pinch and roll.
And how it smells.
Pinch and roll.
Scratch and sniff.
Pinch and roll. No, you see, I don't scratch and sniff. I pinch and roll.
Raspberry vinaigrette.
Well, I don't want to know what
No.
tastes like raspberry.
No, I didn't
Well,
say taste.
you
but
don't
I
have
mean
to
the
taste it.
smell.
It's-
You could smell the vinaigrette.
You got. It's wafting. It's wafting.
I like raspberry vinaigrette.
No, there
Well,
you go.
then
You two single people talk. I'll be over here. Cochina. Anyway.
On my salad. And
well, I mean, you guys, what is it? Females smell like fungus, like hongos,
Yeah. Like truffles.
like mushroom soup.
Like truffle.
gross. I don't.
Everybody does.
No, I don't.
Men and women.
No,
all
I
women.
do not.
That's why they created the douche. Summer breeze.
Oh my
Messenger.
Do you remember what we used to call Sal the douche?
The douche.
The douche.
Well, because he wore that hat.
He did.
So, but when
Hey, Sal, I love you, buddy, but you looked like a douche before I met you. Like that hat.
But he was a douche.
Well, why
with with his douchebag pencils.
Pencil.
Yeah.
Jeez.
pencil, what now?
Pencil thin, fucking like
the goatee.
facial hair, like a goatee, yeah, like the pencil thin, and then he would wear the the sun hats.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like he wore kind of like sideways sometimes, and
Oh, dude, yeah. I was about to ask, like, why the? Because like that's very like you put the because that's the definitive douche, you know. And when you describe the pencil mustache and beard, okay.
Angel didn't like him at
I didn't
first.
like him
He
at
didn't-
first.
no.
I did not like him, and then I got to know the guy. And I'm like, okay,
Well,
he's fucking
yeah.
cool. It's Nikki that's the problem.
I am the problem. Part of the problem.
No, they're ignorant. That's ignorant.
No, but
I'm the problem.
yeah.
Because I'm nuts.
How is he doing anyway?
He's doing well.
Yeah, is he dating anyone or?
Nope.
Oh, you broke him.
I did. I feel bad. I don't feel bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
you should.
he was talking to some girl, and I told him like, go meet her, like go out with her. But he's like, I'm
He's
not
broken
ready for
inside, yeah.
it, and I.
Wait, what's
I think he's done.
what's happening? There's a lot of context I'm missing out on here.
So Sal and her have been together forever.
Okay.
Well, we're
Like-
not together, but we.
You were together. Come on.
We were together for a long time. That's the stepdad to my kids.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you could tell us like what his wafting smell is then.
Would his wafting smell?
It'd be like motor oil and coconut. That's the douche.
Stings the nostrils.
Ooh.
It's a douchey
Wonton
smell.
soup.
No, I'm kidding. No. So they were together. Matter of fact, was it your Facebook or your MySpace was actually Sal's Dami or something like that?
Oh, how do you remember this? Yeah, it was.
Because I thought that was kind of cringy, dude. That's why. That's why I remember. I was like, oh,
I was.
God,
You
you were
25.
upset.
I was 25. Hey,
Dude.
he's gonna listen to this.
I'm good. Hey, Sal. your girl here was Psycho, and then when we met, all she talked about was Sal, and they had been broken up.
My God.
You guys were broken up, and all you did was talk about Sal.
Give me a pencil or something sharp so I can stab your dad.
But anyway, so she would tell me these horror stories, and I'm like, oh my God, he sounds terrible. On and on. And then I met the guy, I'm like, dude, Nikki, you're full of shit, dude. He's awesome. Like, he's cool as
Oh my God. He's an asshole, but I'm an asshole too.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
I'll give you that one. So that's the story behind Sal. And I'll always be supporting Sal. Sal's
That's fucked up, dude.
Sal's cool, dude.
I'm cool too. What the fuck?
You're cool. You're cool. He's cool too.
Who's cooler?
You're cool-ish.
I plead
Cool.
the fifth. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. You're cool. You're
I
my
think
buddy.
you squirted a little when you did that, bro.
From my ass.
You know what? I hope you and Sal have a really happy life together.
Oh, shut up. Don't get jealous. Anyway, no, but
Well, now
is
he's
cool.
getting back on the horse, and the horse is called Angel.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I call him Oaf
Because of my initials backwards.
Life called him Oaf.
because his initials backwards.
Yeah, OAF.
Yeah.
OAF.
OAF.
And my
OnlyFans.
phone,
OnlyFans. You're a jackass. Anyway, so that's the story behind that.
All right,
But-
Dahmer. Speaking about you being psycho, welcome to Halloween. Welcome to the spooky season, and and so
Unbelievable!
really, that's the one you went with.
Actually, I pressed.
I would have preferred you hit the racist one.
This is the one I wanted.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what. Why don't you use that all the time? That's great. Like whenever somebody makes either a bad joke and you're being sarcastic, put that.
You know why?
'Cause that's
Because I just got it yesterday.
That's a great one though.
I
Keep
just
that.
got it yesterday.
That's a
No,
keeper.
it's in.
That's a keeper.
That's a crypt keeper.
All right. That's a crypt keeper.
Love the crypt keeper.
That's a crypt
My
keeper.
boyfriend. Oh,
He's-
This is the best
he's
ever.
gorgeous.
Hello, Fright fans.
It was the best.
Do you
man.
know who did his voice?
Yeah, it was an actor. I forgot what his name was, but he was a decent known actor in some horror stuff too.
Well, no, he's like the same guy. Like I guess the
Brad?
later voice. He's the guy who did he did Buster Bunny.
What?
Yeah, that's him.
He's
That's
the-
him.
yeah.
He also appeared in Tales from the Crypt in a couple episodes as like one of the murder victims. And stuff.
Yeah, I mean that. So Buster Bunny from from
Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons was like the Crypt Keeper voice.
That's weird.
At least for the later one. I don't know if
No,
that's
it's
true
always
of
been
all
the
of
same
them.
one.
Yeah,
It's always been the same one. Something Cassidy? I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Isaac, do you know who the crypt keeper is?
Oh man, your dad's been failing you, bro. Like your dad has not shown you who.
Wow.
Okay, so what really happens at your house right now? You can come on. We can put
He
this on
listens
the air.
to Katy Perry. Huh?
We've actually in your song while being named Vero. No,
I kissed the girl and I liked it.
no, we're actually doing a horror marathon since last month. We've been watching a bunch of horror movies, but sometimes I either get tired or he gets tired or because he has football and stuff like that. So we skip a couple of nights. Last night we were actually excited because we were going to have him watch Happy Death Day 2 to you.
Okay.
And then I fell
That one-
asleep
And then
playing
he fell,
Fortnite.
Yeah, he fell asleep playing Fortnite. So we're like, we'll just do it on Saturday.
Hey,
Yeah.
you and your dad are the same. Like you're. We always ask Angel like, "Hey, what'd you think of that movie?" He goes, well, "I fell asleep through it." Like that's his movie review. Like if he falls asleep, then it's not a good movie.
That's only happened like 2-3 times on terrible movies.
Well, it's because
And it's usually when I'm really tired. My wife, though, I'll put a movie on and she's excited to watch it. And then I turn around, she's like 30 minutes in, she's knocked out.
Aww.
But it's funny because then like me and him will be like, we got to stop it. Yeah, we got to stop it. We gotta stop it. And I'm just like, whatever. But I understand that she's got 3 little ones 24/7. She's like the heart of the family. She's always like doing everything.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And I'm lazy. So
going back to horror movies though, like I've been like putting together a list of movies that I want to watch this month, and I really want to get in on that whole like watch a movie like a week, or I mean for me it's probably going to be a week. I'm not going to do it every day. One of our friends from the Keeping Up with the Nerds, he does like
Renee.
He does a horror movie a day, right?
Yeah, he does it for all 30 days. But
Jackie and I do, too.
we're doing like 60 to 90. Actually, in my house, it's always a movie, so it doesn't matter. We're always watching movies.
Like for me, it's a success will be doing one a week, but I might do 2 or 3 a week. But what are your? Give us like a list of 5 movies that you would want to watch.
Oof.
Put her on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the guest. We gotta put her toes to the fire. Yeah. Her deformed hand toes. Yeah. From the previous episode.
So now my toes are deformed.
Well, they all of our toes are
Not my
deformed.
toes.
Oh, your toes are the
No,
special
no,
ones?
no. They're deformed.
Yeah, they're deformed
They're
hands.
not. They're not great.
Okay.
We always default to the same movies.
That's fine.
Like The Exorcist, but we're not. I don't get scared. My daughter and I don't get scared. Like we just do not get scared
Okay.
at all. So it's kind of sucks trying to look for old movies to,
Here's a movie that I'm going to recommend that I always recommend people: Bone Tomahawk.
Veronica. No, that's a good movie.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Veronica.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
You know what?
Bone Tomahawk.
Bone tomahawk. Like he's gonna bone a tomahawk.
No.
Well,
It's called Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell. It's very intense. It's a very good film. Trust me, it's really good. I've never showed it to anybody who does not go, that's a terrible movie. Everyone goes like, that's an amazing movie.
So
Really?
just to the movie is a western. It's a horror western, and
Yeah.
it's mostly character driven.
Oh, very
But when the
character-driven.
when the horror kicks in, it's not because there's ghosts or demons. It's there is just like there's a whole sequence, or I should say, a whole time of events in which, it gets horrific, and it's interesting, and it has a great ending. It's a cool movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
But
check it out.
that being said, like, okay, when we're talking about horror movies, like you were talking about, like, it doesn't scare you, and that's fine. I don't think good horror movies necessarily have to scare you.
I want to get scared though.
Well,
I miss getting scared.
Me too.
Well, then maybe you're watching the wrong kind of movies.
My kid doesn't like anything out of the ordinary. Like I know she's not going to want to look at that. The
Bone Tomahawk.
Tomahawk. I'll watch it by myself.
Well,
That
here's
makes
a good
sense.
example: Terrifier. I'm sure you've heard of Terrifier.
It's on our-
If not, you've seen
It's
the
on our
memes.
list.
I guarantee you.
Art the Clown, is it? The black and white clown.
Okay, so there's a
okay,
meme.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
the popular meme of, like, first you said this, and it has like a clown going, and then all of a sudden he has like a really scary grin.
Yeah.
Well, that's Art the Clown, and the whole premise of those movies is he's a I guess you can say he's like a slasher, but kind of like in the same vein as Jason
Freddy Krueger.
or Freddy Krueger or
Pennywise.
I wouldn't put him Freddy Krueger because Freddy Krueger talks. This character does not talk at
Pennywise.
all. So more like Jason and Michael Myers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those are the ones that I would compare him to. And so he's that with definitely more tinge on the supernatural. But those movies are really just an endurance test. They're an endurance test on how much gore you can take, because each movie just gets progressively more gory. And so they're not so much scary, although there are a few jump scares, and they're pretty good, legitimate jump scares.
Brenda says you're going to get through 2 because it touched too close to home. So I haven't seen any of the Terrifier movies, but now I'm intrigued.
Well, what do you think? What does that mean? Like too close to home? Because I mean, I can tell you what the second movie's about.
She told me that it made her think about her daughter and herself, especially since she's an ER nurse.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what the context of it, but that's what she said. And she has great taste in horror movies. So
The movie
my
doubles
friend
down.
Brenda, great.
Yeah, Brenda, the Glam
Glam
Vamp.
Vamp,
Yeah.
Shout out Glam Vamp.
I would love to have her back on and talk about horror movies. That'd be great.
She's busy as hell.
Yeah. So the second one deals with Art the Clown meeting. There's a younger girl, and they're almost like antithesis to each other, because he's supposed to be like pure evil, even though he's kind of like, there's a lot of jokes that are played up on, but he is pure evil, right? He's just indiscriminate with his murders. And then you have this girl who is somewhat supposed to be represent pure good, and he's sort of like circling her in some way in all the horrific stuff that's happening around her. So at the end of the movie, she's kind of like the it girl, I think is the term. That's our movie term, right? The it
Yeah,
girl, or
it girl. Yeah.
the final girl. Sorry, the final girl.
Oh,
But they also call me girls.
Yeah, so she's supposed to be like the final girl in the sense that she survives it. Because remember, in all horror movies from
a
the 80s now,
survivor.
there's always a survivor, right? They're the ones who live to tell the...
That's usually a girl.
Yeah, and so, those movies don't scare me. I'll tell you the movies that do scare me. For me, like, the movies that scare me are the ones that are more... Like the more serial killer ones, because that's real. That's real horror. That's stuff that really happens.
That's funny.
Like demons and ghosts, those things don't necessarily scare me. I mean, they'll give you the jump scare, but not, if you're looking for true frights in movies, I can't imagine. I couldn't recommend anything to you. I couldn't say like, oh, this one will truly scare you, because I think it's subjective.
The funny part is, like, okay, for me, slasher flicks are boring. Like I'm not a fan of slasher flicks.
Yeah.
I never have been.
Neither am I.
I like the Scream series. I watched up to 3, I think, or 2, and I was like, this is stupid. I did not like 1. I did not like 2, and I despised 3. So after that, I'm like, okay, I tried 3 times. I'm done. My wife and my son over there are obsessed with Scream. I can't do it. I just horror slasher flicks. I don't. I mean, I see the appeal for people. For me, it's just not a thing. I just really don't care. I like supernatural. I don't get scared of them, but I like them. They're fun. For me, they're fun.
Totally fun.
So that's why I like horror movies. That's my thing. I don't know.
What is it? Sam and Cody? Is that the YouTube channel?
Sam and Kobe.
Oh, Sam and Kobe. They're really cool.
Yeah, I watched them
watch
too.
that.
I like that.
Are they the
Can you
ones
guys
that
tell us a
showed
little
me?
bit about
Is that the
them?
one you showed me about they do like the paranormal investigations and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, some videos are like really over exaggerated, and I can tell when it's fake, but some do seem real.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw him watch some of them, and I'm like, the film guy in me comes out, and I'm like, fake. Oh, I see that. Okay, yeah, it's all. No, so I walk away at that point.
Knock it. It's
I know.
pretty good.
I have
It's pretty
to.
good.
Sorry, because when you present something as factual like that, and I can see how you bended the truth with some filmmaking 101, I call bullshit. It's like some documentaries. I don't know. I've sat through some, and like we were talking about off the air, Mr. McMahon,
Yeah.
and I could see how they took together all this footage of one story they were trying to make and to fit this other story that came out towards the end. And for me, it's like, okay, I mean, that's good filmmaking, but at the same time, documentaries and all that, take them with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
They're,
but
you know.
it's to
They all have
keep the
agendas.
audience, and
Yeah, I guess.
it's good to watch it with your.
What's the last movie that scared you guys? Like when you go, oh my God, that was.
Okay, I was creeped out The Nun too, only because we went to the movie theater and we were up high and it was like super loud and there was hardly anybody in there, and so I was freaking out. I never freak out, but other than
That one freaked you out.
only I don't know why. I think because I'm getting old.
You know which one freaked me? Yeah, that's true, because
really
for me,
think
the
so.
older I get, the more like my mortality or something, or I'm more aware of things. And now with
Yeah.
children, like I think of like something like that happening to my kids or my wife, and like I worry more about that than other things. The last movie that actually gave me the creeps, and I love that movie, is Nope. Did you didn't like it? I loved it. I saw it at the movies. It was great. I loved it at the
I didn't
movies.
like it.
I hate you.
For me, like, oh man, it was. There's like 3 movies, but the one that immediately comes to mind is a Japanese horror movie.
Audition. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, that one's a good one.
Yeah, I think
Audition's a great movie.
Yeah,
The movie's like, it's almost like split in 2, where it's about this guy who hires a maid, and it all seems pretty normal, and then eventually it's not. And I don't want to kill it because it's something I would recommend, but I will say that it flips the script really quickly. It's a really good movie. But it's not scary.
A friend of mine gave me a copy for Christmas. Let me see if I can drag it up and I'll let you borrow it. It's pretty good.
So the one that creeped me out is it's called Pulse. In English.
I remember that
Yeah,
one,
I think,
yeah.
or is it called Pulse and also?
Yeah, it's Pulse in Japanese as well.
Yeah,
At least the English translation of it is Pulse. They're both called Pulse.
Cairo is what it's called.
Yeah,
It's called Cairo in Japan.
But here it was released here as Pulse.
So there's an American version of the movie. It's crap. It's not the same. But the premise of the movie is
Usually.
great. Basically, the idea is that people find a way to communicate with the other side through a computer. Right. This was at the beginning of like when the internet was really taking off in the 2000s. And mind you, at the time, like Japanese horror was getting very interesting. Like Ringu, or the Ring. Or yeah, Ju-on, which is The Grudge. Great movies. All those are great movies and just scary, just visually and interesting. Well, for me, Pulse, I feel like I'm going to oversell it, and if you watch it, you're probably going to be like, "What's the big deal?" But for me, the reason it scared me was that you had this idea of like the internet at its infancy and how people were trying to reach out to each other through the internet, and there's this ambiguity and almost like, who is that other person on the other side? Well, in this case, the premise is that somehow people get so sad and depressed that they essentially disappear, they fade, and all that's left of them is like these shadows on the wall of.
We are
the buildings.
screwed, Nikki.
Well, and the movie essentially would fit in with like.
Now I have to watch this.
Well, the movie fits in with the John Carpenter films and like his trilogy, his Apocalypse
Prince
trilogy,
of
where
Darkness.
Prince of Darkness, The Thing, and In the Mouth of Madness. Only because like
I love that movie.
all those movies, the only real connective tissue in those three movies is the idea that the world essentially comes to an end to some way. You can sort of see that the only conclusion is that the world ends.
And it's funny because those three movies are usually packed together. I bought a pack, the Carpenter pack, and it's those three movies.
But the thing about those three movies is they were never meant to be a trilogy.
No connection to each other.
Everyone just kind of puts them together, and it's great.
It's kind of how Beetlejuice and Death Becomes Her and The Frighteners are all kind of like
connected in some way.
but they're not.
Yeah.
I always think that it's a trilogy. For me, that's the trilogy. Beetlejuice, Death Becomes Her, Frighteners.
Except in the Thing and Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness, these movies are all made by the same guy. So that's kind of
That's
also
the only connection there in that one. Yeah.
So back to Cairo / Pulse. In the movie, like the world essentially is coming to an end. Really, that's the only conclusion you have at the end of the movie. And a lot of it is coming because people are just becoming so disconnected, and it's almost like a harbinger of what we have now when it comes to the internet, like the disconnection, the sort of like superficiality of it. And the movie, even at that time, scared me because there was just this very emptiness. The way the movies filmed these like shots and very dark. Think of like when you watch a VHS movie and how like the contrast, the darkness is really dark.
It's a VHS.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you're
It's an
25.
old technology. Yeah, you're right. You're 26.
Before your time, honey. Okay.
26.
26.
Okay.
My bad.
And so there's this one particular scene though that gets me. The doors are all marked red. Where there's one of these ghosts, because essentially a ghost is left behind of the person, and you're not supposed to go in there because if they see you, you get dragged in. But you know what? You want to watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
Dang, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Just.
It's okay.
find it.
Is it okay? Are you sure? I don't mind spoilers either. I'm good with spoilers, by the way. I know this guy gets a little.
I mean,
picky.
I'll
I
get
get
mad
annoyed.
after. Like, why did you tell me? But tell me.
Okay. I'll try. Well, you know,
Such a
because
woman.
the visual, it's
I
more
know.
the visual. It's not a jump scare. In fact, you see it coming a mile away, but it's the visual of it. So basically, for some reason, the guy needs to go in this house, even though he shouldn't, because they're all marked red that you can't go in there. And he goes in there, and sure enough, he comes face to face with one of these things. Now, it's just the way this thing moves. Now, in the American version, it's absurd. They try to recreate it. They fail. There's just something very weird about the way they do it in the Japanese one. When the person is walking towards them, you can just see the black shadow and you can see the white eyes. And the person moves, stops, and then crouches and does this almost like a kind of ballet, kind of like squat. It's weird and just so abnormal that you feel unnerved by it. Now, if you're watching it by yourself and you may not be scared, but for me, it made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know why. I can't explain. It just made me uncomfortable. So that whole scene just plays out. And when you finally come face to face with it, it's like, I can still see it. It leaves a mark on me. Again, it's not scary, at least not in the traditional sense, but it stuck with me. That's the one.
The Grudge, the American one, really freaked me out because of the fact that I could picture my mom's house had some situation, some shit happening, and I've had that recurring dream of something in bed with me, and I'm like, I could feel it, like freaking out, and when that scene where she like lifts it and then her face is right there, that like I could picture that happening in my house, so I'd always like stuck to me. I was like, dang, that's fucking.
Babadook had an interesting jump scare like that. What you're describing is it's the uncanny valley of fear.
Uncanny Valley, yes. That's
It's
what it is.
like we all have this fear of something under our bed or something under our covers or maybe something
something's
jumping out from the
off.
window. And
It's
something
also-
doesn't belong there, and yet when in the movies when it is there, it freaks you out because your brain is in cognitive dissonance. You're trying to figure out, oh my god, I know that was probably going to be there, but it shouldn't be there, and you're like, and it freaks
also,
you out.
it's also known as the rabbit instinct because you know how that rabbit has that instinct of like flee, like when the predator's around. It's the same feeling that you get. It's a combination between Uncanny Valley is more when it's something is there that you physically know there's something wrong with that thing.
Well, that's what I'm thinking of because there's and I don't remember the name.
It's usually when you see something that looks like it's supposed to be human, so it's supposed to be you, but you know there's something off, like Beowulf, like when you see the old CGI or the Polar Express, you know those CGI movies. There's something off about it where they don't look right human. That's what Uncanny Valley is really. That's the thing. But the funny part is, if you think about it, isn't it weird we all have that instinct in our life? It's a primordial thing left
One way
over,
or another,
which
yeah.
makes you think. At one time in life, there must have been something that wasn't quite us that we
Oy.
learned to fear, which I think is probably like a Neanderthal or one of the other subspecies. But still, that's creepy if you think about it,
creepy.
man.
So the flight or fight instinct that you're talking about,
Yeah, that's the rabbit one, yeah.
is absolutely a biological evolutionary thing that we've had. Like the idea that, you know, we like us being afraid of spiders makes a lot of sense. Once upon a time, spiders were really, really big. Even up until about 300,000 years ago, spiders were probably the size of dogs, right? And so there's like, can you imagine on a very, like, when we were much more primitive, and if you saw like a 6 to 8 legged thing, that's abnormal to us, right? To us, see 2 legs, maybe 4, that's the norm. But something that has 6, it's very unnerving for us. And so that's something we've passed on over the ages. In the same way that you guys, I mean, it's not an actual confirmed fear. Do you remember like years back, tryptophobia? The idea
The
that
holes?
yeah, like there's concentric circles like that are geometrically the same,
yeah.
and people get freaked out about those if you see it on people's hands or faces.
My stepson has that.
Yeah, and the whole thing about this is that it's supposed to represent the idea of disease. So when you saw something like that, it would make you feel uncomfortable, especially if you see it on like the skin, because it's almost like a sign that there's like some disease there. So our instinct is to like repel from it. But you know, going back to the movies and stuff, the Uncanny Valley aspect. There was this movie, and I have to ask Josie what the name of it was, but it's a Spanish film. But there's a scene, and it's not even really that it's scary, but it's just exactly what Angel described. It's just it just shouldn't be there, but it is. So there's a scene where this guy's looking for something, and he looks under, like, not a bed, but under like maybe a TV stand or some type of furniture, and right below it, there's a head and a face looking right at him, and it shouldn't be there because it shouldn't fit there. Like, that space is so small, and there's no reason a person should be there, but the person is, and it freaks you out instantly. And yes, your instinct is to repel, to recoil, to maybe even pause it or to run away.
Movie Little Monsters? That used to freak me out as a kid.
Oh,
Which
the
one's
one
Little Monsters?
When,
Howie Mandel and Fred Savage, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I remember
Because
that movie.
The monster under the bed, like,
Yeah,
that freaked
yeah.
me the fuck out as a kid.
Yeah.
So,
I could
yeah,
I could picture that too. It's the thing that you always fear something under the bed, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, it's a trip, man.
Yeah.
I don't understand why though. Like, why do we have that feeling? Like, everyone, like, I never told my youngest. He used to have kind of an issue when around age 3 or 4. He had an issue with, like, you know, he thought something was there, and then my youngest has that issue, and
Yeah.
I think my daughter used to too, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, because that's why she has her blanket. She's always has her, carries, to this day she still carries because of that. But yeah, it's a trip when like, why, like,
For under the bed in the closet for me.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with the closet except for the house where I met Mark, but that house was always weird. And one time we had a sleepover, and we heard a lady's voice come from the closet saying hello, like loud. It went hello. We still remember to this day. We both were like, that was trippy. That was trippy. So that's the only time that I was afraid of my closet, was that place. Other than that, I've never had a problem with closets.
So another movie for me, like, that gets me, and I don't know if you guys have shared in this fear, like, and probably not, but when I was young, I watched Return to the Living Dead. Not Night of the Living Dead, which is a great movie,
Oh, I haven't
black
seen
and white.
that in such a long time.
Remember that's the
I own
80s
that.
one, and that movie is great.
Brains.
And we've talked about this on air before, but the thing that scared me was the way they ran, like a running zombie. Like,
It had never
scared
been.
me.
It had never been done before that movie.
Oh, that's
And
great.
it's supposed to. In the movie, they talk about the events of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
they do
'cause
talk about it in it as folklore. Like, oh no, it really happened. And they're like, yeah. And then
But they covered it up, and it's a little different.
and
That's
they're
what
like,
they say.
yeah.
in
And
the
then
movie.
they're like, oh, you want to see what we have a dead body underneath, and it's in this canister and stuff. And they're like, okay, they're gonna go check it out. And then once they actually release the trioxin 645, which is what the stuff is called,
It's like the chemical build.
the chemical that
inside
makes zombies.
Do you guys remember this?
I don't always remember all of it, but when he's the okay, so great. This is why I mean an Angel great. Like, Angel's very good with the details. But once he brings them up, I remember them, and then I can corroborate.
Yeah.
But Angel's the one with, like, he
I
knows
jog memory
names.
for that.
And I love that.
And he's good with history and everything else, so we always bounce off
Do
each
you
other.
remember
So
your mom's birthday?
it's the same as his, September 3rd.
I don't remember.
That's the only reason is my mom and my. I remember my mom's birthday. I remember my dad's birthday and my sister's birthday. I don't remember my brother's birthday. I know it's near Mother's Day. I just don't remember when it was.
Why are men like that though? Like, why is it that you can remember lyrics and especially movie clips? Certain, just
I don't know.
I just don't get it.
Full disclosure, I don't remember my kids' birthdays except for Michael because it's easy. Other than that, like I'm sorry, dude. I don't remember your birthday. I have it. I know it's in July. I know
and
it's in
you
the
thought
20s.
you were the favorite one, bro.
He is my favorite, but no,
Because I'm the captain now.
Hey, your mom's birthday. Also, I have a hard time remembering because I always think it's either the 14th, 15th, or 16th. Like I have to go and I have to I have a cheat sheet.
Bro, your dad's gonna be sleeping on the sofa.
I have
tonight.
a cheat sheet. I have a cheat sheet for like the people that matter to me for their birthdays. Because one thing is numbers. I'm terrible at numbers. Always have been. Always will be. I'm terrible at numbers.
So have you made the cheat sheet? That's the question I'm gonna ask every. Hey, have you made the cheat sheet?
The only ones I remember are my mom and my sister because it's September 3rd and June 3rd. My dad because it's 10/10.
And mine.
And yours because it's my mom's birthday. That's the only reason. I don't
See,
remember
I'm the
Doyle's.
captain now.
I don't remember George's. I don't remember anybody else's.
Okay, so you're not good with numbers.
I'm terrible with numbers,
Okay,
and
what's your excuse? For
and
the
I'm an
month of the
estimator.
year? Oh my god!
And I'm a construction estimator. I work with
Why?
numbers all day, and I am terrible. My math is
Shouldn't
the
be saying
worst.
that on the air.
No, I don't care. It's fact, dude. My math is the worst. I have to do everything by computer to double check. I've never been good with numbers, but facts and little details and stuff. I like historical, and I'm like, oh yeah, that whatever, and then I'll forget other stuff. It's like my brain can only hold so much information. But anyways, back to Return of the Living Dead.
Well, hold on. To answer your question, part of the reason why men are good at those type of things and women aren't, I mean, it's not fact, but in evolutionary psychology, I love. There's a really great book. It's called Why Do We Have Beautiful Daughters or something like that. I forget. It's a great book. And it all outlines the idea of evolutionary psychology being a thing in which, over the years we do genetically remember things. And there's reason why certain things happen and whatever. One of the reasons why guys remember details and girls don't is because girls are better at big picture. And over the way our society's been made up over the past several 100,000 years is that women oftentimes we were more matriarchal than we were patriarchal. In other words, most of our villages were actually run by females because they would look at the big picture and the guys were the ones who would send out to do the details. But over time, the way political systems were, and you can even go all the way back up into during the Greek era, 5th century BC, where we created democracy, right? And that society then became more patriarchal because it wasn't just about the details, but it was also about strength in order to enforce as groups became larger. But when you had smaller familial groups, it was matriarchal, and therefore women were better at the bigger picture. So you guys remember ideas better. You remember, sort of like outcomes better. Where guys remember details because we fixate on details because oftentimes that was the purview of a male in that society. Therefore, they weren't the leaders in the group. They were the ones they were the task maker. So the women would be telling them, okay, well, we need this, this, and this, and we'd be the ones. Okay, we go do that. So
Which makes sense because my wife will remember something that I was supposed to do and I'll forget all about it. It was like, wait, what are you talking about? Oh, that happened? Okay, let's go. Rock and roll. I forget, dude. But
figure that out, man. Women were the leaders of the world until democracy happened. Democracy ended up taking that away from you guys. So
hey, it's coming back little by little, man. Mexico just elected their first woman president.
have you seen that video clip of a guy walking next to her trying to take a selfie and she's waving at everybody and with her right hand without beating and blinking an eye, she just slaps his hand away to put the camera and she goes back to waving. It's great.
That's cool.
It's hilarious.
That's awesome. No, I haven't seen that. That's funny.
And the guy, as his hand slaps away, he just looks around and be like, okay. And he just falls back into the crowd.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. But no, back to the Return of the Living Dead. So the reason why it stood out is because everything was slow and rotting on the original ones. And then this threw all those rules out the window. First of all, the first one you see is that big yellow one that gets reanimated. It runs out naked screaming. The other ones don't run. So it comes out and then they're like, okay, they're holding it down. They're like, how do you kill it? How do they kill it? They're like, in the movies, they always went for the head. You're supposed to bash the skull. So like, okay. So what they do, they get a fire axe and what they do, whack it in the head. it's still kicking and screaming.
I have to watch this again.
So then they chop it up into little pieces, and all the little pieces are still moving around in the garbage bag. They're still
I
moving.
vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So they're like, okay, what do we do to this? Like it threw all the rules that George A. Romero had set up. So this is like, it's groundbreaking for the 80s. Plus, of course, the 80s had better graphics and special effects than they did in the 70s and 60s, which were the original movies. So this is, much better. Then they burned the body, incinerated to get rid of it, not knowing that now, it goes up in the air, the fumes go up in the air, then the rain brings it down, and they just reanimate the whole cemetery next door.
Well, what's great about all of that, before I get into the part that scares me about all of it, is that you're right. I never thought about the throwing of the rules out, because the difference between Night of the Living Dead, the George Romero one, and the Return of the Living Dead is that in Night of the Living Dead, there's never really an explanation why these zombies come back, but it's almost implied that it. In the original movie, there is no.
There is.
Okay.
In the original 1968 movie, it's implied. You're right, but it got lost in like different editions and all that. But it actually was supposed to be like some sort of extraterrestrial satellite or something like that infected radioactive in the whole area. There is a news report, and that's in the original one that's actually still left, that you can hear when they're trying to find out what's going on. They're messing with the radio channels and stuff. You hear a clip of it, but something about George Romero and his editing and all that, it got lost in time. But he admitted that that's what was the original.
Well, I was gonna say that in the movie they didn't confirm it, but George Romero did say it. But it was more of I was gonna say supernatural aspect, right? Because aliens. Not really scientific, right? But where in the Return of the Living Dead,
unless they're illegal,
it's
implied that.
E.T.?
What about what?
E.T.
Oh, he's real.
He is real. He's real. I have him in my house right now
with his dildo finger. So yeah,
dildo finger. So in Return of the Living Dead, it's implied that it's a military who created this chemical, and it was a biological weapon. So it's the reason why. That when they burn the bodies, it turns out that they just end up making the problem worse, because what are you doing? You're taking a body that's riddled with biotoxins, and now you're turning it into rain, and so sure enough the problem becomes even bigger, which is great, by the way. And for the 80s, it makes a lot of sense, because you guys remember in the 80s there was a lot of talk about acid rain.
Yeah.
Acid rain, and a lot of talk about bioweapons, because in the 70s people were still talking about DDT with the stuff that they were dropping in Vietnam, Agent Orange and stuff. Yeah. So there was all of this like kind of floating around in the consciousness of everybody, like the zeitgeist, as you'd call it, the ghost of the people, if you will. And so you have that movie was scary for that reason. But for me, the part that scares the crap out of me, and I can still see it in my head, is there's a scene where these two people are running, and it's this wide shot, and you just see like people running around the corner. It's two a guy and a girl, and they're running. And you can see from distance, and they're trying to get to this door that leads into a warehouse. And as they're running, all of a sudden, not one, not two, but almost 100.
Yeah, around the corner.
Zombies are running just as fast after them.
Yeah.
And they're running, and they're just like, and the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, they're not going to make it. And they do make it, but like that idea, that chase, like, stuck with me. Like I had nightmares of that,
and especially when there's like a small mist flowing, and then the lighting is overhead, and it has this really creepy shot. It's a very great shot. By the way, a couple years ago, that whole area, it's here in LA.
Okay.
They built this luxury loft right where the building was, where the UNITA medical supplies, the building that takes place. It's a loft that went for sale for $2.6 million. It is gorgeous. And I always thought, man, if I win the lotto, I want that. Just because it's Return of the Living Dead, by the way.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah.
So that movie, like that whole movie though, stayed with me. So when besides The Exorcist, that movie was the other formative like horror movie for me. Like those are the two movies that I can say really genuinely scared me when I was a kid. Exorcist, just for the visual of like that possessed girl and the things that it did, and the whole religious thing. Yeah. But in Return of the Living Dead, it's the idea of being chased by zombies. I had a recurring nightmare for years where, like on my street, I lived on this one street called Gotham Street. Yeah, and up like on both ways, I would always walk out of my house in the middle of the night, and it was really foggy. I'd go out into the middle of the street, and I would look up towards the end of the street, and I would always imagine people walking out of the fog. I turn around, and then the same thing, and all of a sudden they start running towards me.
I used to have that fear too as a kid,
and this was a recurring nightmare. And usually the nightmare would end when I would run in the house. But sometimes it would continue where I'd go up to the roof and there was just no escaping it. It just stayed with me for a long time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a trip. Do you have any fears, any phobias? Like actual phobias?
Roaches.
Roaches? You?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it before, but yeah.
Do I have fears? Yeah.
Phobia.
Sharks. Like
I have sharks. I have that one. But the worst one, balloons.
Are you serious?
yeah.
I
Latex
can't-
balloons.
Yeah, I can hear it. Like I get like.
No,
very,
it's yeah. I can't. It's
Like, I get
and
anxious.
like I've mentioned to people laugh at me. It's not the actual balloon itself. It's the tension that I know it's gonna pop.
Yes.
It's like no structure should hold that much air in it. And then you look in the mirror.
No. Yeah, and then I look up, oh shit, never mind.
It's like, wait a minute, you're an airbag.
Yeah, I'm a big old airbag. It's deflating, but it's still there. But anyway, yeah, no, the tension is always, and I can't concentrate on anything else. And my wife is like, look, concentrate on something else. Look at me, and I'm like, I can't. It's not that simple.
Never really considered that as a phobia, but
No, it's a phobia. It's a phobia.
Yeah.
Like everyone who knows me knows it's a fear.
Yeah, like-
and like I don't like being around, but it's only latex balloons. Like Mylar, I'm okay with. Those Disneyland ones that are like vinyl and stuff, I'm okay with those. Even if there's a latex one inside, it's covered, so I'm fine. It's a latex plain balloon.
Jesus.
I can't stand that. And the other one is sharks. But the sharks was so bad that like I told the story in the air that when I was a kid, it was so severe that it's like it was an obsession because I liked them, but I hated them at the same time, and I was scared of them. Where I wouldn't go in ball pits and Chuck E. Cheese because I always pictured that there was water underneath and there was a shark down there.
That's adorable.
So as a kid, age 21, no, as a kid, like, you know, when I was like 6 or 7, that was my fear. And I'm like, you know, hey, I'm never going in a ball pit. I've never been in a ball pit until I got them one when we were living in the apartment. And then I'm like, I jumped in.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
When?
at the apartment, remember the ball pit we had?
When'd you jump in?
A few times, like with Michael, with you, I jumped in a few times.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you were little, dude. Come on, we moved in there. You were in kindergarten, no?
Don't you remember the restraining
Yeah.
order?
First grade.
No, I think you were kindergarten.
First grade.
I think you finished kindergarten here because we moved you out really quick because your mom made the mistake of enrolling you into Carmela, and they're like, okay, you got to start the next day, and it's like, oh, we were not ready, but we did everything as quick as possible. I think you were like in kindergarten, like ending of kindergarten.
It was first grade.
Are you sure? We'll check.
First, I remember
We'll fact
my
check with your mom.
my first day was going in first grade
I don't know.
because kindergarten was like on the other side of the school and I was on the other side.
I remember
going
picking you up a few times on the first days in kindergarten.
It was in kindergarten.
I don't know.
I know for sure it wasn't. I'm the one that went to the school.
Yeah, but your memory is not that great when you were little. Trust me.
No, that was.
Okay, we'll see. Agree to disagree, buddy. I'll smack you off the air. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Putting a whole bunch of movies that I completely forgot. Hellraiser, that freaked me the fuck out. And
Not me.
The Believers. Do you remember The Believers?
That one I don't. What's that
Wait,
one
Oh,
about?
yeah.
It's like
Oh.
voodoo shit, and
Yeah,
that freaked me out.
That was pretty good, but that was more of like a thriller. It wasn't like a horror movie. It was more like an
It
intense
just
thriller.
freaked me out. They sacrificed
So,
animals. And
Enrique is making a list in front of us. Yeah, I gotta rewatch that. That was Angel Heart. Remember Angel Heart? No, with Louis Cypher, Robert De Niro. That was creepy shit. Anyways, so he has a list in front of him that he's writing of all these movies that he wants to talk about.
The Witch is good.
I have not seen The Witch. I was telling Isaac I started watching The Witch, but something about it creeped me out where I had to stop watching it.
Really?
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Then
it is creepy.
it creeped me out, but like not like in a this is gonna be a good movie. It just it creeped me something that was off about the movie. So I was like, I don't want to watch this right now. I'll watch it later. Put a pin in that. And then I was gonna go back and watch it on Max, and they removed it. It's now on Amazon Prime with commercials, and I'm like, I hate watching with commercials, and I'm not gonna do that. So. More than likely, I'm probably going to either rent it or buy it next week, and then we're going to watch it because I'm not going to sit through commercials on a scary movie, especially a scary movie because it takes you out of the element.
They're not called commercials anymore.
What are they called now?
They're ads.
That's true.
Oh, fuck.
I know. I call them commercials. I feel so old.
They're commercials.
They are.
We'll be right back right after this message. Ads.
Never seen.
Hereditary, never seen. Exorcist, yes. We still have to see the Believer. Exorcist, the Believer. It's on Peacock, by the way.
Oh, I'll watch that one then.
Yeah,
I'll definitely watch
let's
that.
watch it and let's trade notes. I'll watch it tonight, probably.
Long leg.
It's okay. It's not bad. It's
As good as the first one, or worse? Is it better than part 3?
Yes.
Because part 3 was great.
Okay, then I'm thinking of part 2.
Part 2 was terrible.
Yeah. No.
Part 2 was terrible. And then so there's Exorcist 2, the Heretic, Exorcist 3, which is the one in the mental asylum. That one's really good. And then there was Exorcist the Beginning and Dominion, which that is a funny fact that I've talked about in the air. Those two movies, Dominion and Exorcist, are the same movie. What happened was they shot the first one, Dominion, and the studio hated it. So they said, no, we're not releasing this movie. They fired the director and they said, well, we have the sets, we have everything else. Okay, let's reshoot the movie. So they did Exorcist the Beginning.
Oh.
So the Exorcist the Beginning, they used the same sets, the same actors, the same everything. And they reshot it and it was a worse piece of crap. So then people started watching the inside the studio. They started seeing the original movie. And they're like, this is way better. Why didn't they release this? So they're like, okay, fine. We'll release it, but we can't call it The Exorcist. So they called it Dominion Exorcist the Beginning or something like that. Or a prequel to The Exorcist. And that was a bigger hit.
Yeah.
So the studio never knows everything. But anyway.
So let me. So I did write a list of movies, mainly just because, not in any particular order, but mostly just so that I could remember, and I wanted to talk to you guys about them. But see if I can find some connective tissue between them, and maybe spark some memories from you and opinions if you've watched them, or talk about them if you haven't. Okay. So you guys brought up The Witch, and dude, that movie absolutely is one of those very
intense creep.
They're creepy in atmosphere.
Yeah,
execution. They're beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. So if you watched it, okay. Have you watched The Witch yet?
No, it's on the to-do list.
Okay,
we were gonna watch it, but then we didn't want to watch it with ads.
Got it. So the movie, so the movie basically is as authentic as it can be of the time before America was actually America. It was you had Puritans who were coming in as colonists, and they were creating these little towns that were very much revolved around religious sects. And so in this case, the movie begins with a family who gets excommunicated because the dad has too much pride, doesn't believe, he thinks that his version of the Christianity they're following is the more perfect one, and he disagrees with the elders of the village. So he goes out, takes his family out into the community, or rather out of the community into the forest, and it's implied that the forest, there's a witch in there. So you see a lot of clues of it, and so throughout the time you see the dad trying to make it work, but ultimately there's a lot of hints that the families are paying the price for the hubris. There's a lot of religious iconography, and then at the end, my favorite scene. You guys don't mind spoilers, right?
I do.
Okay,
especially for that one.
So you haven't seen it?
No, not the way. Okay. I gotta get there.
So, God, that's too bad, because the movie, the only way I can really talk about it effectively is to say, so I won't. But the movie has a great ending. It has a great sequence, and I think that when it comes to religious horror, is definitely one of my favorite ones up there. The other one that I wrote was Hereditary, and mind you, I think they're all the same. Not only the same studio, but I think the same director.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so Hereditary, dude, that movie is the most authentic cult movie I think exists. The idea of the way the cult happens. Who's watched Hereditary here in the group?
I've tried watching it, but it didn't spark my interest.
Did you get through all of it though?
I didn't.
Okay.
And then I went back and seen different clips. I was like, shit, this looks good.
When did the movie lose you though? That's an interesting thing.
Right in the beginning.
Okay, that's probably what it is. Because so the movie is a great fake out, because essentially the core of the movie is about dealing with loss, especially in the face of a very strong leader in the family. Right, you have the grandma who died, and you see hints that she was a very prominent figure in their lives. But then you start to get hints that there was a lot of abuse. All of it is picked up as you watch the movie. They don't spell it out for you, but you see it. You see it in the trauma that's in the daughter, played by what's the name of the actress, Angel? Do you remember? Toni Collette. Yeah, you can see it in the trauma, and there's a lot of hints. This is the thing that I love. The idea of I'm a person who does like it's called exposition. I like exposition. I like when you tell me context. So I'm okay with that. But mostly the best way to do that is what they call show me, don't tell me, right? And so You know what? If we have, by the way, Angel, if we have to go a little bit longer on this one, it'd be cool because I think
Okay.
I think this one, it's a good conversation.
Well, ask if it's okay with our guests.
Yeah, are you okay? I mean, if this show runs a little bit longer,
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see until we run out of steam.
Okay.
So
Now. Okay. Go ahead.
You can see the show me, don't tell me idea of exposition is the idea that you can give lots of hints in the movie, and a really good director will do that, and they won't necessarily tell you. So in the movie itself, you find out that the grandma was part of a group, and the grandma was controlling of her when she was young, and her first, which was a boy, the grandma tried to control the boy in some way, but the mom ended up leaving, so that when the daughter was born, she finally came back into the grandma's life. But for a long time, they were not in communication, and all of that just seems like very normal. And the movie feels like it's more about family and loss, but then little by little, you start to see that it's more. It's more about a cult. And so the payoff at the end is just great because it turns from being this kind of thing about lost and family into this thing about like fate and religion and cult. And it ends in such a like crazy way. I think it's one of the greats. And so The Witch and Hereditary for me are these two really great companion movies that you should watch together. And then on a close third, Midsommar. Same guy, same director.
I was just thinking about that.
Same thing. And this guy does his homework when it comes to cults and religion. A lot of the stuff that he gets into, particularly in Hereditary, about the demon that they talk about, its name is
Pazuzu.
no, actually it's with a P, by the way. It's not Pazuzu, it's Pygon. There's a guy named Pygon, and the thing about Pygon is that he's supposed to be one of the lesser demons. In fact, Pazuzu and Pygon are polar opposites. They're at war with each other. And so if you go into demonology, these two are actually connected, Pygon and Pazuzu. Pygon is a demon of success. You pray to him and worship him for success. And so you'll see his iconography.
Taken.
Well, the funny thing is that there's videos that show like people from studio lots in the past 60, 70 years, you can see hints of that iconography on them. Like they're either wearing rings or necklaces of it, of Pygon.
Symbolism. There's so much symbolism. That's a topic for another.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing, and maybe on a tongue-in-cheek way, one of my favorite bands is called Ghost. And if you look up on my bookshelves up there, you'll see that I have like the guys with the dark face. He's the same. He's supposed to be. He's the lead singer of the band. His name's Tobias Forge, but he plays a different character in each iteration. Right, one is younger than the other. But when he comes out dressed in his Pope regalia, which he does, you can see the visage or the symbol of Pygon on him, because the idea is that he worships Pygon, who is the demon of success.
It only took Enrique 50 minutes to bring in Ghost into the conversation. Continue.
I love that band.
I know you do, and we all
I
do.
want that Jabba.
Which one?
The Jabba popcorn.
You want that Jabba the Hutt? Oh man, I love that guy. And when you open his mouth, he goes, wah, oh, 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 oh.
You give her a tour afterwards.
Yeah.
You can see all the little
absolutely.
He has amazing stuff in here. Anyway, so yeah, that's a good one. What else we have on the list?
All right, so I'll go in, since we're talking religious movies. Let's just go back to the beginning. Exorcist. Exorcist is like that movie that scared me. It stayed with me.
It did for me as a kid too, but then again, I saw it when I was 3.
I did too.
Hey, on a funny note, I just found this out last night, but in Saturday Night Fever, when they're having the dinner scene. Have you guys watched Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta?
Yeah, of course.
It's been so long.
Okay, well, there's this dinner scene when everyone's like smacking each other, right? And they're like, you dance too much. And then they're smacking each other. Why can't you be like your brother? When she gets up and talking about her brother, if you look at the picture that she points at who's her brother, it's actually a picture of the priest from The Exorcist.
Oh, no way.
It really is.
When
I saw that, I'm like, I did like a double take, and I'm like, what?
Which
the young one or the old one?
The main guy from The Exorcist, the one who dies.
Okay. Oh, you mean the old one?
Marin. Father
Yeah,
Marin.
the guy.
Father Marin?
No, the main character. Yeah, the main character. He was young in the movie. Remember?
Okay. Fun fact: that's Jason Patrick's dad, and he was a screenwriter.
Interesting.
And he was an alcoholic, and he was really, really like a bad guy actually behind the scenes.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah.
Now, no, that his picture, and by the way, it's his picture. He's wearing like
The whole thing?
the Pope thing, or not
That's
the Pope,
hilarious.
but the priest thing.
That's hilarious. That's a good little touch.
And it completely blew me away when I saw that, because I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, I've gone my whole life and I know these two movies, and that's the freaking dude from The Exorcist.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't know if that's like on purpose
Yeah,
or by accident.
of course it's on
or-
purpose.
Yeah.
It's on purpose. It's a little tongue in cheek.
Funny. But okay, so The Exorcist scares me because I mean, I don't know about you guys. I grew up in a Catholic family, and my mom, like told me stories of La Llorona and all that stuff, and I grew up believing it, and so much that I've had experiences myself, even here in this classroom, whether they're tricks of the mind. I don't know. Some of them have been a little too real. And so I'm sorry. So asking you guys, like, what sort of experiences have you had in terms of the paranormal?
Too many to count.
Yeah.
Too many. Like, okay, the house in East LA that I was born in. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard horror stories from everyone who's been there, and there was a lot of weird shit going on there. There was a man as one of the family friends when he was little, he didn't know how to say it, so he would say, "Ojos que quiere llorar," or he would say, because he didn't speak Spanish, so he would like try to like talk, but basically he said he had,
quiere llorar.
what he was trying to say is he had like very like sad crying eyes and like very piercing blue eyes. And he said that he saw that in my brother and sister's room when I don't know, I was, like I said, I was an infant, not even one when all this went down. And my mom didn't believe it, no one else believed it. There was weird stuff in the house happening, and the neighbors always said that no one ever lasted more than a couple months there.
Oh, wow.
But we were the ones that lasted like, I think like 3 years or something like that, or 4 years there. And we were like the longest ones to that point. And my mom, towards the end, had an experience where she saw the man stand, but she thought someone broke in.
Oh, wow.
And then she turned around to like try to like run to the door. When she turned back, he wasn't there no more. So she was, and it was East LA. So that, and then there's a lot of stories there, but I wasn't part of that. I don't know nothing about it. My brother and sister could tell you a lot. I did not. Then I moved to Scout, and the whole street is kind of weird. There's weird stuff in that street.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff, and at the end, there's the Woodworth mansion.
Yep.
Which is known to have paranormal activity. But that whole street had a little funky stuff. Nothing really happened to me. I never felt anything. I was actually the happiest on Scout than everywhere else. But like everyone who's ever been there has always given me some stories of Scout.
Yeah.
And then I moved from Scout to Lanto, and that was creepy because there was a lot of weird shit in that house. A lot of weird shit. I wouldn't know if it's paranormal, but there was some weird stuff. Like I said earlier, me and my buddy Mark heard a voice say hello. My dog, there was a section of the yard, would not go there. Just did not like it. My mom and dad's room, when you were always in there, you always felt like you were being watched and not wanted there. My dad, who was a total non-believer, so the day he died, he did not believe in anything paranormal. Even when we lived in that house in East LA, he had an experience there, but he always said, like, with a grain of salt, like, I don't know, because it didn't fit his, belief. When we were in Mexicali one time, the whole family left. He stayed because he had to work, and he was hanging out watching TV on his bed, and he heard someone tell him in his ear in English, "I love you," like that, and it freaked him the hell out. And he was like, "What the fuck was that?" So
An amorous ghost.
yeah,
It's like, I love you.
yeah, but it was like a really.
Don't touch my
He
penis.
says it was a very strange accent. He said it wasn't. It didn't sound like someone who spoke English.
I love you.
I love you. No, but it was a very
Whip
strange
it out.
Yeah, whip it out. Let me look at it. No, but
Let me jiggle it. Let me tickle
with
it.
the balls. No,
Tickle it, tickle it.
Oh, my goodness.
Just a little bit, just a tip.
that'd be funny if it was actually like that. But no, he had that experience, and it freaked him out. Like
Taste vinegar.
But he was always. But he was always like, he told me that guy would tell him like, so was it a ghost? He's like, no, it wasn't. He goes, you know what it could have been? I probably had the radio on and didn't even realize it. Or he always like rationalized everything. To, that's the way he was. Then we moved to Lanto, and in Lanto, I saw my first experience, and that was I saw a little girl in the middle of the night in the living room when I was like listening to "Down by the Seaside" by Led Zeppelin. I talked about this already, and I was looking at the time play because I knew it was late and I had school the next day. And the reason I was in the living room was because I gave my bedroom to my cousin because she was spending the night. So I gave her the thing. And I was in the living room, and my brother had an experience where he got hugged in the middle of the night on that couch, and he had gotten bite marks on his hand from something biting him, like his little teeth and everything. And I was like, whatever. I actually saw the little girl standing between the living room right next to me and the kitchen, staring at me, mouthing something, like she was trying to say something, like I could just hear, like, but she wouldn't say, like I couldn't hear anything. And my heart started pounding really fast, and just like smoke, it just started just dissipating in front of me. That's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my god!
And then there was some stuff at the house that we bought in Downey, but that is also the neighborhood, because that used to be all part of the mental asylums around the corner. The Rancho Los Amigos is right around the corner, and then we were part of that lot. So everyone has seen, like all my neighbors, we used to talk to all our neighbors, they've all seen weird stuff in the neighborhood. I never really saw anything. I would hear things, but I never saw anything. So whatever. And then, funny enough, when I went to New Orleans, they said the house that I was staying at was haunted. I never felt shit. I was there like nonstop, alone. The house was from like the 1800s. I love that house. I never felt anything. I don't know. Then we moved into Santa Fe Springs. They said there was stuff there at the apartments. I never felt anything until like towards the end. Shadow figures. One time I thought he was in the bathroom playing with water because I could hear him singing, and I scolded him, and I saw his shadow too, like walking around in the bathroom, and I'm like, go to sleep, and then I'm like that, and then Valerie came around the corner. She's like, who are you talking to? I go, Isaac is in the bathroom. She's like, he's in bed. And that's when I went in, and there was nobody there. And I'm like, oh shit.
Hell no.
So then there's that. And then everyone in the house always heard when the kids were not around or whatever, like a baby crying. And we didn't know where it came from. Like we just never knew. Lo and behold, around the corner from our house, there's a small old cemetery that's only like a block or like a little, like a, it's so small. You cannot miss. It's like seriously, like just like 1 yard, and it's a bunch of old tombstones, and there's a factory behind it, and then the street. It's just that one they can't get rid of. I don't know why.
Isn't that where you hit the ghost dog or something?
On the other side of that, yeah, that was another incident that happened where I don't know what it was, but I had a 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee lifted, and me and my buddy were going around. We were going to go up to the Uptown Whittier, and we would go through Greenleaf on that area, and we were talking. It was late at night. And I saw this like white fur thing just run in front of the car. So I'm like, I'm going to hit a dog. I'm like, oh my God. And I hit my brakes really hard.
You saw a perrito.
And we hit something. We actually hit something.
You hit the ghost dog.
We hit something. And my friend's like, what happened? I go, I don't know. I hit a dog. And he's like, what dog? I go, the white dog. He didn't see the dog. I saw the thing. It was just like fur, white fur. And like long, and we hit, and we got there, and then I get down, and there's nothing there, and we're like, what the hell? And I have a witness. I had one of those, the bra on the car, the leather bra on the hood, like it's like a hood protector, yeah. And it said Jeep. Well, that thing was bent up, and there was a dent on my hood, I hit something, and my friend felt the hit. He felt the impact. He did not see anything.
What the hell?
And then I realized that couldn't have been a dog. My Jeep was lifted. I had a lifted Jeep. So if that was a dog, it had to be like 4 feet or something, or maybe higher, for me to see it over the hood. So to this day, I'm like, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't think it was a ghost. I don't know what it was. My way of thinking, because I do believe in paranormal, I say elemental, maybe something that wasn't human. I don't know what it was. It just creeped me out. So yeah, that's all.
That's all.
I mean, I know I've always had like a lot of stuff, yeah. But and then the house we're in now, there's nothing, absolutely nothing. But everyone says, "Oh, the neighborhood's haunted." I'm like, "There's nothing. It's old."
I never even get a feeling in there.
You're so chilled, comfortable. It's like the first place I never felt anything in my life, and I'm like, I love it here because of that.
Yeah.
That's why I love Whittier, because I feel more at home.
So even in the house all alone, you don't feel nothing.
No, you don't feel nothing. And then, there's Founders Park. You know about Founders Park?
I do.
It's around the corner from my house. Founders Park is called Founders Park because actually it was a cemetery. And when they decided to turn it into a park because, everything we needed more space, well, they got rid of the tombstones, but they didn't get rid of all the bodies. So there's still bodies on there of the people that founded Whittier. Hence why it's called Founders Park. And there's like sidewalks and stuff. And actually those sidewalks are the original cemetery. So it's a cemetery that's turned to a park. It's a beautiful park, but
It's a little morbid, but
Whittier's known to be really haunted, but I like it. That's the first place I feel at ease. Like, I lived in Ball Gardens, Downey, all the other places, but I feel at home at Whittier. It's always called my attention.
See, but the thing about Whittier, and he lives right up the street from it, has Turbo Canyon, and Turbo Canyon has a lot of history of like paranormal stuff. Like you driving through there's this one road. Well, it's called Turbo Canyon Road, and driving up into the hill that leads to the other side, the City of Industry. Is that what it's called?
La Puente.
La Puente, and City of Industry / La Puente, right?
Yeah.
So you're going up to the hill, and one of the common stories is that on a particular night, at a particular time, you might see somebody who's hitchhiking. I think it's a girl, and if you pull over, the person will get in your car and they'll get in the back seat, not the front. And at least the last two, and the person will start crying, and it'll ignore you, and then once you pass the top of the hill and as you're coming down, it'll disappear. Right? Now, the other version is if you don't pick up the person as you get to the top of the hill, you turn. The person will be in your back seat. If you turn around, you won't see her, but you'll see her in the rearview mirror, and they'll be screaming at you, like to let me off, let me off, let me out. So there is a story, I think, and I saw the article. I want to say it's like in the 70s of a girl who was found dead up there, a hitchhiker. So I think that's kind of how they connected. So
there's another one that actually did happen. I know because it happened around 1996, 97. You might remember there was a girl from Downey. I think she worked at the Burger King. She got kidnapped and she got murdered up in Turbo Canyon, and her body was actually dragged throughout Turbo Canyon. I
can tell you up into like the 2000s, Turbo Canyon was kind of empty. There were some houses there, but there were a lot of places where you can park. And like, I mean, I was a teenager, and when I was, there are a lot of places you can park.
The funny part is, I was about to say something. I was going to say the one who introduced me to Turbo Canyon was Enrique.
Oh,
but after that comment, I take it back.
He doesn't want to out it. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right, baby.
You guys already outed it.
No, the funny part, it was very sweet of him. My dad was dying of cancer. And when he was put on life support and stuff, I was working and I couldn't get to him. I didn't know who to go. Coincidentally, he called me out of the blue just to check in on me, and I told him what was going on. He's like, "I'm picking you up. We'll go see your dad." I didn't make it. Like, they didn't let me in for visiting hours, so I was like freaking out, whatever. And he's like, "Dude, let's take your mind off of it, this and that." So he actually is the one who's like, "Oh, look, this pretty area called Turbo Canyon. Let's check it out." And that's the first time I went to Turbo Canyon was with him.
I used to love going out there. Yeah. I would even go out at night. There was at the top of the hill, there's a place where you can pull over, and then there was like this, almost like a barn gate you can go through and hike up to the top of I want to say it's an antenna tower. You can still do it. I haven't done that in ages though, but I used to do that all the time in the daytime and at night. And there were a few times at night when I went by myself or I went with a few friends, and like you could always hear things rustling in the bushes, but you can always think it's a snake or something. But the imagination runs wild. I took a girl up there once too. Meow. That was good times. Anyways,
good times.
Here in the school where we're at currently, this happened to me up in the hallway. My room used to be the one at the end of the hallway, room 12. I was here by myself. It was in the evening. And I went to Cal State LA, so I was waiting for my class to start, so I stayed here late. Nobody was here. And I knew that for a fact. There was one other girl who worked downstairs, and she would stay late as well, but she had left. And I checked in with her when all of this was happening. I heard somebody walking up the hallway, and my desk was against the wall, facing into the classroom, but behind me would be the wall that separated me from this hallway up here. And you can hear people walking up the hallway, like, because it's just echoes. So I'm expecting somebody to, come into my room, into my classroom, but they never did. They passed behind me, and then they kept on walking, and then I heard the bathroom door open. Never came into the room. So I then get up and I open the door, and all the lights are off, and it gets really, really dark here, except for the skylight that's right here outside my current classroom door, and some of the windows. But at night, like, it's really dark. So the only light coming through is from my classroom. So I decided to leave the door open, and I shouldn't have, because that freaked me out even more. But for some reason, I thought, okay, well, I'm waiting for that bathroom door to open again. I want to see who's going to pass through. The door does, and the person walks past by. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I ended up leaving. I got my stuff, packed my stuff, left. And as I'm going down the steps, I can hear steps again. And they're walking the other way. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like there's somebody here. And that's when I text my boss at the time. I text and nobody was here. Like the janitors weren't here, nothing. But there was somebody walking around, clear as day. You can hear the footsteps and everything. And that was one of several other, like here in this classroom where we're at right now, some people, like one of the janitors saw a person standing in the corner over here by my sofa. And then of course some of my staff member here is knocking from one of the doors behind you that leads into another little room here that we don't have access to from here anymore. Like once upon a time, that room used to be an office and you can access it through a door that's behind our supply cabinet right there. So lots of weird little things like that. Now, I've not had an experience on a Saturday like this, and I've been here by myself on Saturdays. But usually this will happen on the weeknights. It'll happen at night, or it'll happen like on a Sunday. So weird. Yeah, weird. But that being said, since we're really definitely running short of time, I just wanted to like sound off a few movies just to put it out there. Movies that you might have not seen. So there's a movie called In a Violent Nature. And I want to recommend this movie to you guys. It's called In a Violent Nature. You can see it on Shudder. It's a great movie. The movie is basically a reconstructed version of Friday the 13th, the second one with Jason. But the censure is it's all done from the perspective of the slasher guy, the guy who's killing the people. So you're basically watching him as you're following him as he's going through the forest and doing his thing, so that you somewhat get desensitized to the violence of what he does, and he is violent. But it's implied that he is a reanimated of somebody who was killed before, and you sort of become somewhat sympathetic to him, but yet the whole time he's a force of nature. I highly recommend this movie. I don't know that the movie will scare you, but it's definitely one of those really good, well done movies. I highly recommend that one. And then the other one is Long Legs, the one with Nicolas Cage. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen that yet. It looks good.
Again, that movie will not scare you, but great premise. I think of it as Silence of the Lambs meets, gosh, I don't know what else to compare it to, but it's kind of Silence of the Lambs. Nicolas Cage plays a serial killer. In which he leaves, like there's a doll that's left behind in a family gets killed. But here's the thing, there's it's all like implied that it's the father of the family that kills. In each case, it's a different father who kills everybody in the family, but somehow it gets connected to him. And and there's an FBI agent who has some kind of sixth sense about all of it, that ends up piecing it together. But by the end you find out that there's more to it than that, and it's so good. It's visually interesting. It's and Nicolas Cage just being like ridiculous as hell.
I'm not a big fan of Nicolas Cage.
No,
and
it's
the
cheesy,
wig,
but I like him because of that.
The wig in that one is really good.
Well, there you are. What kind of wig can I wear? Yeah.
Angel has this great idea, theory about like Nicolas Cage picking out his movies based on what wig he'll get to wear in that movie.
Is that he's bald, so he's like, oh, what kind of wig do I wear?
What's that movie that he made? It was really weird.
Which one of the many did?
No, it was like
the one with
aliens or something. I
which
forgot
one?
what it's called.
What's the topic? And I'll tell you. The Happening?
No.
You know what it's about?
Wicker Man?
No. It's of aliens and it just I don't
Yeah,
know.
The Happening.
It's that.
The Happening, where the aliens are coming down. He has to get rid of his kids or set them up. Yeah, that's happening.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It was badly made.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't know if it was because of taxes, but he'd made a lot of movies. Well, there's this really great movie on Shudder that he did called The Color of Space.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Oh wait, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
That's
The Color
what
of
I'm referring
Space?
to.
It's another one?
Yes,
Is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, dude,
Color Space.
it is a weird movie. It's great where him and his wife and they're like stuck in a
Yes.
farm and
Yeah, The Color of Space.
That movie is based off of an H.P. Lovecraft story called The Color of Space, and the whole thing is meant to be a cosmic horror. That's one of the themes that I wanted to talk about. We'll get into that in another episode, but There's a lot of different kind of genres of movies, and cosmic horror is one that you don't see a lot of, but they're so, when they do them well, they're really great. Like Hellraiser, I would classify
Cosmic?
as cosmic horror in the sense that you're
I think
dealing
it's more mythos, but okay.
well, yeah, yes, there is a mythos, but keep in mind that the Xenobites are supposed to be this otherworldly outside, like you go in, essentially you go insane if you see them. I mean, typically cosmic horror tends to be an amorphous thing, like something that you can't really like describe, that comes at you in some way. But I would put Hellraiser in that mainly because of that the mythos thing.
When you said cosmic, I thought you meant like sci-fi horror. But
Well,
I see what you're saying now. Okay.
No, people get mixed. They get it twisted. The
Yeah,
cosmic part being
yeah,
like
I
that in
get it.
space, but no, it's meant to be like there's
In
like
the
a
Mouth of Madness is a more cosmic. from my
absolutely.
approach,
Well, have you watched the John Carpenter movie In the Mouth of Madness?
I really recommend that movie.
It's a
You
fun
guys have to
movie.
Text me all this stuff. I'm gonna forget.
Sure. So In the Mouth of Madness,
How
there's,
sexy and you still forget.
what's the
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
what's the name of the guy? He came out in Jurassic Park. What's his name?
Sam Neill?
Sam Neill. So he's an insurance guy. He or a detective, an insurance detective. He goes out and tries to find fraud. In the movie, a Stephen King type writer named Sutter Kane.
So, yeah.
Sutter Kane is like the number one writer in the world, and he disappears. But he owes the publisher a book called In the Mouth of Madness. And so they send him out to try to find him. And all the clues lead to this town that shouldn't even exist there.
Basically, he rips up the covers of all the past books that he wrote, and he notices that there's like a weird red line and stuff, and he like puts it together, and it's like a puzzle that it shows like a map of the town, like where to go.
Yeah, when he overlays the map on top of of the country, it's like somewhere in Maine or right before Maine, and all the roads lead to this one town. Now the town is actually named after a fictional town in the book of the character Sutter Kane, so that's why he's like, well, this has to be some stunt. He thinks that he's caught fraud, so he goes there, but he gets trapped in this kind of like nameless kind of dread.
This bizarre, nameless fear. It's just it's trippy.
And so in the name of a cosmic horror, the idea is that there's these like elder gods, or these eldritch, that's the word you would use, these eldritch creatures, these things that exist outside of our space and time that have been there, always been there, and they're the reason for all the fears that we have. And so they're coming back into the world, and that's kind of how the movie sort of like
That's a
dwells.
pretty cool concept.
It's a great concept. The movie does a really good job
It's
of
really
it.
good, and it still holds up.
Yeah, and The Color of Space, I should say, it's supposed to be somewhat of that.
He was gonna say color me mine.
I was gonna say.
Oh, like Color Me Bad?
Color me back.
I wanna sex you up.
A TikTok, get up.
All right, and okay, so the last two movies, and then I guess maybe we can move on from there. There's obviously you guys have watched the Blair Witch, and you guys know that is the everyone credits it as the beginning of
Found footage.
Found footage.
Yeah, hated it.
I loved it.
I
Hated
loved
it.
it. When my kids and when Jackie and my stepson James, when they were, because they're about the same age, they were maybe about 9. Sal and I showed them the Blair Witch, and we told that it was completely real
Oh,
footage.
you made him believe it?
Oh, they were scared shitless.
The internet did such a great job of like making you believe it.
It was the beginning of the internet. They had websites.
It was great.
It was
Everything.
That's why I hated it. I hated it first of all because I don't like found footage that like the shakiness, and it makes me dizzy, it makes me nauseous. One, two, the fact that this whole thing, and it came out to be fraud, and then to top it off, I found out they went to the same film school I went to. I was like, you dicks. So they went to New York Film Academy, same classes. I knew the same whatever. It pissed me off. I did like Book of Shadows though, the second one. I did like
I haven't
that
watched
movie.
it. I did watch it. Never mind.
Yeah, I liked it. It was cheesy as shit,
It
but
was
I
very
enjoyed it because it was not shot as found footage.
So the reason that I think the Blair Witch worked was, besides them like really selling it as that it was real, is that it was filmed in such a way that it made you think it was real. And and in the vein of a cosmic horror, even though it's not cosmic horror, it's not at all. But one of the tropes of cosmic horror is a nameless sort of thing that's coming at you. In the movie, there's always these hints that there's something out there, and you can hear it like screaming in the background, or you can hear like the hints of it, or see when you see the little idols, the little
That's terrifying.
the little wicker things that they create. And but then finally the culmination of the house, when you just see all the little handprints on the wall, and that scene where the guy's in the corner and all of a sudden the person drops. I mean, dude, all that scared the crap out of me. Now the reason
it annoyed the shit out of me. I was at Norwalk Theater watching it, and I was like, I hate this movie. I hate everything about this movie. The only part that did freak me out was
a
when
biased opinion, though.
My opinions are usually by the way. But the only part that really freaked me out when I saw it, and I was like, "That's cool," was when the tent is being poked and you hear the giggling.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. And then I wanted more of that, and then the rest was just like, "Oh my god!"
I enjoyed it.
And I was like,
the movie was polarizing for that reason.
It freaked me though. It was before its time. I think so.
Well, there was a movie
agree on
before
that.
that though called The Last Broadcast, and it has a similar theme. And it came a year out. I want to say it came out either a year or it came out around the same time. But Blair Witch was the mainstream hit, and The Last Broadcast is more the cult hit now. And the premise of that one is a group of college kids, or not college kids. I'm sorry. It's a late night public access channel show, kind of like the Ghost Hunters. They go out into a forest in Jersey to look for the Jersey Devil. There's this myth of something called the Jersey Devil. It's a kind of like a Wendigo or
I remember that
or
one, yeah.
a Bigfoot kind of creature that exists out in the forest or wilderness of Jersey. And so they call it the Jersey Devil. And so supposedly this group got lost trying to find it. And a guy, the movie itself is supposed to be a guy narrating a documentary to find these kids, and he finds footage. And as the footage is being put together, it starts to come together that and you guys will never watch it. It culminates into this guy who talks like a reporter, and he's great. He gives the video to another guy to clean it up, and as the video is being cleaned up, you start to make out this figure, and then finally, when it's finally cleaned, the last shot it's actually the reporter, and it's his face with a look of anger, like attacking the guys. It's a still shot of him about to attack that group of campers that went missing. And so essentially he's making a documentary of the kids he killed. And then the last shot of the movie is him out in the forest, and now it's a third person shot, and you can see the camera, and he's talking to the camera about the events. So essentially he gets away with it. It's a great movie, but it's done in the same way. It's found footage. All of it is all just like done from the perspective of the campers, and then from this other guy.
And on a quick footnote, the one that's considered actually one of the first found footage movies is
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes, 1980 Cannibal Holocaust. That's one of the first ones.
The only reason that one doesn't really because
you guys know so much about movies. Jesus.
I had no life.
Yeah, me neither. I need a life.
Yeah, I'll find one someday.
Cannibal Holocaust is good though.
Yeah, for this time,
I liked it.
It's effective for its time.
I've never heard of it.
A group of people out in the forest. Again, all of them. They basically meet an Aboriginal group or no, it's a Amazonian tribe, and they get basically killed by them and eaten, and all of it's caught on film.
And it's caught on film.
See, that's scary.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so, practical effects of it all, and the grainy film, it looks like a grindhouse. Well, it is a grindhouse film.
It is a grindhouse, yeah.
And it looks authentic because of it. Oh, there's one movie, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's a Japanese movie, and I brought it up one time to you guys, but I forgot the name. I think it's called it's called a flower in something, but it's basically it's based off a manga, and this guy dressed up like in a samurai kind of suit, but he's basically has a person sequestered, and he's essentially taking him apart, and this person's still alive as is doing it. And so there's this movie, like they filmed it, they made a movie of it, and I want to say it was Charlie Sheen who thought he came across it because it's a Japanese movie. He thought it was real, that he turned it into the FBI. So for a while it was banned, and once the FBI investigated, found out it was fake, and they ended up getting released as part of this trilogy of movies and stuff. But it's a really, really effective, creepy movie because it's all just one camera and this guy, and as he's doing this, he's kind of reading poetry, like haikus. It's very, very upsetting. It's a really disturbing movie.
It just reminded me of a really bad Nicolas Cage movie, 8mm.
I like that movie.
Of course you did.
Up into that, you know what? Let me ask you this: do you guys believe that snuff films are real?
I believe they should be.
Define them for everybody.
Okay, snuff film is basically a film where they set up a camera for the purpose of murdering someone on camera, like basically as an experiment. I believe that they are up to. I mean, we all seen the narco snuff films; those are real.
Yeah.
But I mean, the actual snuff film itself is a little more extensive, where it's more premeditated. It's
Okay, well, let me give you a better definition. A snuff film is a movie in which it's a filmed murder that's done for money and entertainment of an audience. That's the definition of a snuff film. So
American Idol.
Yeah, there's
yeah, and so I'll give you a good like fictional version of one. In the movie Lesson Zero, you know you guys remember that 80s movie Lesson Zero? Well, it's based off of a book. And in the book, there's a sequence in which the character Clay, who's played by Andrew McCarthy in the movie, he goes to a movie. He goes to a house, and it's a party, and in one of the rooms they're showing a film of these two kids. They're kids. They're about like 13, 12 years old, and they're essentially being tortured. And the guy who's showing this film, and to all of them, everyone's kind of like excited by it, and he said, "Oh, I paid money for that to happen." And so that's what a snuff film is supposed to be. It's like supposed to be like a movie that you pay.
I believe it. Just like people pay to hunt humans, rich people.
But believe it or not, there's no
proof.
There's no proof right now, recognized proof of an actual snuff film. There's movies that are snuff-like. Cartels are, for example, or anytime a murderer films himself murdering somebody, those exist. But one specifically in which you paid to see that person killed, those are the ones that haven't been confirmed, except maybe on the dark web, supposedly.
That's the trip. That's so. And then there's also like Fear.com. There's a movie like that one that also supposedly online snuff films. But I don't know. I mean, I think that they should exist.
Yeah, I think it does. Anything and everything is out there.
Yeah, you could, if you can imagine it, someone's done it.
Isn't that sick?
It's very.
But
humans are sick puppies, dude. Humans are sick puppies. Look at this one right here. He's typing away, looking for something disgusting. Watch something with feet. That's his thing. Anyway, but thank you. We have only like 3 minutes left. So, any other movies you're gonna watch or recommend?
Wait for the
list.
Yeah, I'll watch them.
I have a list. I have a huge list. It's a checklist that me and my family have been going through. But there's, normal ones on there that everyone.
Yeah, send them to me. I mean, usually I watch.
Do you have an iPhone?
No.
Android?
Yes.
Okay.
The movie is called I was telling you about earlier. Is called Guinea Pig, and it's a series of films, Japanese films, and the one that the main reference is called Flower of Flesh and Blood from 1985, in which the guy is taking apart a person, and it's filmed. It's really cool.
Fun. It's fun.
That's what I want to do to Tony.
Which Tony? Both Tonys?
Sure.
Do it to Enrique.
Ooh, never mind.
Off the air?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, we loved having you. At least I loved having you here, dude. It's always fun to talk to you. I miss you.
I miss you too. It was nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You guys have a lot of information in those big noggins.
No, this one over here talks nonstop.
I did talk.
But
I talked a lot right now because I'm making up for you.
Yeah,
you gave great information.
But when we went out, I would not stop talking. I don't think I let him. I kept on interrupting, and so it's like, okay, it's his time to shine.
Yeah, he's showing off.
No, actually, I don't remember that. Actually, it was really great.
I felt like I was like,
whenever I hang out with people, I actually tend to be very awkward, and I tend to not really. It's hard for me to talk. I always feel very self-conscious. Right now, this format works for me because this is an exchange of information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to pitch before you go? Anything you want to say a shout out to your friend over in Eagle Rock? No. Anything else you want to
stop visiting her? She needs her space. No, just kidding. I'm sorry.
I won't show her the.
It's a joke. She's a lovely person.
She's very
touchy.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah. We take that back.
So then we can't hang out with her. Then I was gonna say let's all go hang out.
She doesn't have that sense of humor.
Fun.
Sorry.
No, I wanted to.
Will you take it out in post, Angel?
No, I won't.
Shout out to myself. No, I'm just kidding. No, but thank you guys for having me.
Always. You're welcome back. Always.
It was nice to hear you guys in your element.
Monkey, thank you for joining us too.
You're welcome.
You're annoyed. I know you don't like being on the air and stuff, but
No, I don't mind.
okay, I'm just helping. All right.
Old folks, huh? Us young people gotta stick together.
Yeah.
I can see your wrinkles from outside.
You know what?
Enrique?
I can count your wrinkles, Angel.
Thank you.
They're like vinegary.
I think I have more.
You're
wrinkles
disgusting.
Than he does. Wait. Ew,
Remember,
what?
never make eye contact while eating a banana.
Unless you're into it.
Or a cucumber.
Ew.
Or a pickle.
You guys are gross.
Or turkey leg.
Good night, everybody.